Philip London reached back out to me recently, and he told me that he still had not been paid the more than $30,000 he was owed. It had been 8 months since we talked the first time, and he needed answers before he was forced to shut down his business.
I dropped everything that I was doing to do this job.
How much money are you owed?
Over $31,000.
Philip London lives in the north end of Hartford and owns London Way Construction, one of the many contractors hired to work on the 25 buildings of Section 8 housing in the city, known as the Clay Arsenal Renaissance Apartments. The agreement was for him to be paid in 30 days or less, but after 8 months, still no money.
Floors rotted underneath it. There's mold in the walls behind it. And as you can see, I'm still waiting on handles for my drawers.
The living conditions in the Clay Arsenal Apartments made headlines nearly 2 years ago after the residents organized and spoke out. No more! No more! Calling then-owner Emmanuel Koo a slumlord. Their voices were heard, and the city of Hartford rescinded Koo's tax abatement. According to our sources, Koo then hired contractors to fix the units. But when it was time to pay those contractors, he said he needed to get approval from the Department of Housing and Urban Development first.
Promises and a lot of back and forth as to someone is going to call me back.
In June, HUD told Fox 61 on the idea that the owner has to wait for HUD approval before paying subcontractors, I can only say it's just not so. Property owners have a responsibility, as we all do, to pay our bills.
Cannot give your kids what they needed because of the simple fact that somebody else is taking advantage of you. And the only thing that I wanted is what's rightfully mine, to do right by my family.
After hearing Philip London's story, I called Corey Mackey and A.J. Johnson. They and the Christian Activities Council were integral in organizing the residents and giving them a platform to speak up.
Not only is he from this neighborhood, but he's taking his talent, he's taking his gift, he's taking his craft to make his community better.
The council reached out to the new owners to share Philip's story. Even though Atlanta Financial isn't responsible for paying workers hired by the previous owner, surprisingly, they sent a letter agreeing to pay London Way in full and promising to work closely with Philip London as a preferred vendor, saying, "We will not let the choices of previous ownership get in the way of rebuilding Clay Arsenal Renaissance Apartments and serving the needs of affordable housing in the Hartford community." We reconnected as soon as we found out that $30,000 was heading London's way.
I have 5 kids, and for me today, it's pretty much a good thing to be able to keep my promise to my kids and do what I need to do by them.
The fact that he picked up an opportunity down the street from his house makes an absolute difference because now his name and reputation and where he lives is at play. So this is a business owner that we all should support.
Part of getting paid means being able to keep his promise to his son, who's in college. Philip's promise was to pay for his education.
I would only say to you this: I don't even have proper education, and for seeing my son accomplishing the tasks that I didn't do, I am very grateful.
A business owner and a father who did his job, and after 8 months, finally will be paid. A good end to that story. Again, thanks to the Christian Activities Council, a grassroots organization in Hartford helping Hartford residents get their voices heard. Now Philip can keep his promise to his son. He can continue to employ workers and keep on doing jobs in the city that he calls home.
Wow, that's amazing. Hats off to the new ownership group. That's a remarkable step they're taking. What's the latest on the residents who are living in the building?
Okay, so we did all of these stories with these residents in their units. There were 144 families a year ago living in the Clay Arsenal Apartments. Each one of those families got vouchers from HUD to relocate to different Section 8 housing. As of today, there are 5 families left in the Clay Arsenal Apartments. So that's the latest as far as the residents are concerned. But Philip London got his $30,000, and that means that he can continue to employ his workers and be a preferred vendor, which means a lot of work for him and his team.
Sad that he had to go through that in general, but glad that he's getting paid. It's important.
Big hope it's going to pay off in the future, too.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Ben.